Hello and welcome to the latest CraftySniper's Airsoft videos. On today's video I'm going to be discussing what happened at Taceval and also basically what's going to happen in the future regarding these videos. Right, Taceval. You may have seen on the Facebook page I've been putting up posts regarding a specific match called Taceval. Now Taceval in military terminology means tactical evaluation. In Lincolnshire Airsoft Club terminology it means an awesome set of matches that take place throughout the year. Probably about 4 or 5 of these Taceval day matches. There is also a Taceval 24-hour match, which is obviously a 24-hour match. That happens at the end of the year, probably around August time. But the last match I took part in was the very first of this year's Taceval matches. Now what Taceval is a heavily scripted, restricted style of match. It's not like a skirmish match. Now skirmish match, you can wear what you want, you can bring what you want weapon wise, bring as much rounds as you want, not a problem. In Taceval there are limitations placed upon you. First of all, there are 2 countries, essentially 2 teams, but 2 countries. There's a blue team and there's an orange team. On the blue team you have to have a full matching set of camouflage colours. Your rigging can be a different colour, but your shirt, smock, whatever you like to call it, and your trousers must match in their pattern. On the orange team, you can wear what you want, as long as it doesn't match. Ammunition count is restricted to 450 rounds per AEG user. This can also mean basically that any rifle, or submachine gun, or pistol, or shotgun, or anything like that, or even sniper rifle, you are restricted to 450 rounds, no more. If you have a machine gun and it has to be or has to have a real-world counterpart in the world weaponry, then you are allowed to go up to 1,000 rounds, because obviously a machine gun has more ammunition than your standard rifleman. Now, on top of that, there are rules of engagement. There are little tiny things you have to do: standing patrols, gathering information, communicating with your hierarchy, communicating and trying to win the hearts and minds of the indigenous population that are also out there. Basically means that Taceval matches are very, very realistic, about as realistic as we can make it at LAC, and it also gives it a huge challenge. This is, like I say, completely different than your standard skirmish match. Now, I was a member of the Orange Team forces. I was actually 2IC of the Orange Team, so that means I was second in charge, God forbid. I was also, this is pretty much my loadout that I was wearing on the match. Now, before you, obviously, the most important thing is my rifle. This is a G&P M16A3. This is the one that used to have the M203 grenade launcher underslung underneath here. It looked like something out of Vietnam. Now that broke last year sometime. Grenade launcher had to come off, and what happened was I've now got a rail system on the front here. It's a key mod system rail. I still have the longer barrel on it, and I have a suppressor on the front to hide the long inner barrel that's in this particular gun. I have a standard foregrip and carry handle, and that's about it. This is a very, for me anyway, a very simple assault rifle setup. It's also very light, and that's what I wanted. I wanted something quite light, something that I'm going to be holding all day and not have to worry about just how heavy this really is. Obviously, if I had a grenade launcher hanging off the front of it, or a sniper rifle, or any other of my weapons, it could have been quite a very long day for me. Also, these matches, you have to, or you will be out during the day, and there is no breaks. There is no lunch break. There's no stopping play during matches. The match will always go on. It basically starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and will finish at about 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's a long ass time to be out there having an airsoft match. So you have to carry everything that you need to supply yourself and resupply your weapon system and keep you going, keep you in the fight and in the chosen role that will be given to you. Now, I decided very quickly that I would need to have 2 loadouts to take with me. What you see before you is my tactical in-field. I can resupply myself, I can have a firefight, and I can keep my roll up as 2IC, but be in-field. This is not at the base, this is with the troops in the middle of firefights. And what you see before you, obviously, like I say, is the assault rifle. I also have my 8 fields tactical webbing. On my webbing I have my communication set up. We have a push to talk button here. We have a secondary push to talk right next to, it's attached to Velcro, just here. The cabling all goes down to my radio, which is kept on my left hand side in a water bottle stroke radio pouch. On the other side of this I have my headset, which obviously I wear on the head. Moving one pouch over from the radio pouch, I have a P90 magazine pouch. This is used traditionally for my gas cans when I use my gas rifles. Obviously my G&P M16 is not gas, so in this one I have a water bottle, spare water bottle even. Obviously that was full. Moving on again, I have 3 twin M4 magazine pouches. These are holding 6 30-round magazines. My rifle would also be holding a 140 round, sorry, mid-cap magazine. I would also be holding a further 4 magazines on my backpack, which I'll go into in a minute. This takes me up to around the 450 count. Moving on from my magazine pouches, I have a secure larger pouch. I have a little carabiner that locks the zips together. Basically means I can carry anything that I need to stay secure is going to stay secure, not open up on me. Moving up, I have my admin pouch. This obviously was a speed loader pouch, that's what I normally use it for. Don't need to use a speed loader, so that was holding pens. Various maps and documentation was carried in here. And that basically is my rigging system. On my back I was carrying this water bladder pack. I can't remember what the exact size, I think it's 2 litre, I'm not 100%. But this would be carried on my back while I was on patrol. So I have the ability to keep hydrated, is always very important in an airsoft match. Obviously I have to carry my normal standard baseball cap, standard body glasses. I have a pair of woolly style gloves on with a bit of grip on the front. Obviously this match starting at 9 o'clock in the morning means temperature is going to be quite low, so I didn't think my normal gloves would quite cut it, so I had the woolly gloves with me. I had my traditional ATAX field green trousers on, and this is obviously my black CraftySniper's hooded fleece. That pretty much was my loadout for any kind of patrol. Being that this is Britain and the weather can be, well, challenging, shall we say, I also carried on my backpack a DPM British Army smock. This is obviously a jacket, very, very thick, it's quite large, goes down quite a bit, very windproof. It is waterproof up to a certain point, so yeah, if it was going to be very cold, this was with me as well. Obviously this camouflage pattern is nothing like ATAX, so that means I can wear the mixed set and not be a problem with that. Now when I went out at the start of the day, like I said, I had 2 loadouts. What I've just discussed there was my tactical in-field loadout. Also I had more stuff to carry, so I had with me my Viper backpack. This thing has about 4 or 5 compartments, molly system on the front and on the side, so you can attach further gizmos, which I have. On the front, obviously like I say, I have the spare magazines. I also have a spare pair of gloves on a carabiner. On the side I have a first aid pack, because you never know when that's going to be needed. In this small compartment to the top here I had spare batteries for the rifle. I had a multi-tool in case that was needed, pens, pencils, all that kind of stuff that we needed throughout the day. One compartment down I had a spare set of bungee ropes, because you never know if you're going to have to make something. It's always nice to carry the stuff with you. It doesn't weigh anything obviously, and it's kept down there nice and safe. I also had a scrim netting just in case that I needed to go off and be hidden somewhere. In the 2 larger compartments I had various notepads, notebooks. I carried my water bladder out to the firefight in this backpack, because a backpack and a water bladder don't usually go well together when they're both on your back. Yeah, I don't think it's spare radios, that's another thing I had in there. Spare sets of glasses, things like that. Basically I had a redundancy system in case anything major broke on me throughout the day. Now, Taceval matches, like I said, they're a little bit different than your standard skirmish matches. My particular role on this match was that I was 2IC of the Orange Forces. Translated, that means I was second in charge, God forbid. as part of my role, I also had a secondary role, which happened and went very well. I'll just leave it at that. I also oversaw a prisoner exchange, which is something we don't see in airsoft too much. I also negotiated very badly with or tried to talk, I should say, with the local indigenous population. I'll go on to them in a minute. I also oversaw a prisoner interrogation. That's again something that I've never done in airsoft at all. You don't see that in a skirmish match. That's normally for milsim events. Now, like I said, the indigenous population. Who are they? These guys are a third party of people. These guys are effectively neutral to the two teams, and you have to, as part of an orange team, I had to get them on our side. So it's basically winning hearts and minds of the indigenous population. Now, just like us guys, and just like the enemy blue team, the indigenous population have their own list of rules, their own way they're going to respond to us. They're not going to be talking to us as fellow airsofters. They're talking to us as an enemy on their country, in their country, over their borders. So they're going to be hostile to us, but maybe they're into trying to talk to us and trying to become friends with us. Or maybe they're just going to shoot us on sight. We don't know. As an orange team member, I don't know how these guys are going to respond to us. Now, as part of my role, like I say, I did a prisoner exchange, which was also a part of talking to the indigenous population. Prisoner exchange went fairly well. I went out there with a couple of squads of our guys, giving me a bit of backup. Likewise, the indigenous population had a representative and their armed forces, which were not the same size as ours, but still, my aim is first of all to send over the prisoner, and I'm also there to try and talk to these guys. Obviously, the last thing I want to do is have a hostile encounter with these people. So anyway, I walk out with the prisoner by his back, walk him out to the representative, send the prisoner over, start trying to talk to this guy. But like I said, this guy is playing by his own script that he's been given, and even though the talks didn't lead to an actual firefight, at the time we was talking, I did notice that there were blue team members sat on a hill overwatching this all and could hear it all happening. They didn't shoot, like I said, they've got their own rules and regulations. But yeah, the indigenous population were not exactly what I'd call friendly. But that's part of the game. When it came to the prisoner interrogation, that was the fun part. That was absolutely awesome. Like I said, that's something I've never done before, and I was tasked with that. Right before we managed to take this prisoner, who was a member of the blue team, first of all, the rules on taking prisoners are a little bit different than normal airsoft, but basically what would happen is, you would be in a firefight. If one of our forces snuck up behind a blue team member and you had them dead to rights, so within say 5 meters or so, you could ask them to surrender. If they reach for a gun, or turn around to shoot, or are aggressive, or whatever, bang, they take a round. They become a casualty, and they have to then go through the casualty system. If they surrendered, their weapon would be made safe, and they would be grabbed, politely, and taken, or escorted, back to the base where the interrogation would take place. Now, right before this prisoner was snatched, my forces, or should I say, Orange forces, witnessed the village elders being kidnapped and executed. Now this is a massive, massive political nightmare for the blue forces, and we wanted to be there to help the local population, also to try, if we could, to rescue any of the prisoners that they took. Our forces went in, cleared out the blue forces, but as it turned out, the village elder had been executed. Now, this prisoner that was coming back to me had information regarding what had actually happened, the Blues representative at this atrocity. As he was escorted up, I had my notepad out, and the prisoner interrogation rules were quite simple. I asked a question. If he knew the answer, he had to tell me the answer. He could not lie. We couldn't make this like a Hollywood interrogation. Obviously, we can't beat him up or anything ridiculous like that. But it was just a case of asking the question. If he knew it, he'd answer the question. So anyway, I was talking to him about what his tactics were for his country, for his team, what kind of squad structure they had, what their state of ammunition was, because they'd been in firefights and wanted to know how much ammunition they had left. Likewise, also what their medical supplies were like, how many times could they revive any other players before they really were in dire straits. And then I went to the question about the execution, and this prisoner very kindly told me everything that I needed to know. It confirmed everything that had happened, and that basically a blue team member had executed the elder of the local population. Now obviously we needed, as Orange Team, to get information, confirmed information that has happened. So as I had my notepad, and as I'm talking to this guy, I had a letter written out on this notepad, and it said, I, little underline, witnessed the execution of the village elders by blue team forces. So once he had told me everything I needed to know about the village elder being executed, gave him the notepad and says, there you go, can you sign that please? Obviously, if it was part of the Geneva Convention, a prisoner never ever signs anything from a bad guy like me. But this guy signed it, and I have now written documentation confirming the execution by blue forces of the leader of the local forces. So, end result of this, the local force, the local indigenous population, are now quite proactive to our side. Orange Force now have a country to defend, and this will carry on into the next match, which will take place probably next month. Now, like I say, all that happened throughout the day. What I've been discussing, there's also been a lot of downtime. As 2IC and the guy who's in charge, there was a lot of standing around and discussing tactics and issuing orders. We also had to talk to a higher party, a higher boss, the general, so to speak, who would then talk to the politicians' side of the forces, of the indigenous population, to try and communicate and make it that a bit extra realistic. Likewise, if we needed a resupply of ammunition or meds, which we never did, that would be called through to the general. He would then issue a helicopter drop to a point on the map. We'd have to secure this area, wait for the supply drop, take the cargo and get it back to our forces. We did have a couple of times when we had to go drop information off, because likewise we had to get intel. Once we had concrete intel, we would get that back to our leadership, and that would have to be done via a helicopter drop. So once again, we'd call it in, helicopter would come in, take the information and bug out. Obviously this is airsoft, couldn't get the RAF to lend us a Chinook anytime soon. But that is another thing that we didn't get in a normal standard match, and this is what I'm getting on about. Taceval matches are uber realistic. They are borderlining the milsim style of events. Yes, there were a lot of times that you are standing around, you are doing standing patrols, you are doing information gathering and getting that information back through the right channels to the leadership. You have to secure certain areas, and this is not done in 5 minutes. This is a controlled sweep of an area, setting up a defensive structure around this area so that you can guarantee the safety of anything that's in it. Obviously there's a talking with the local indigenous population. That doesn't happen overnight. That is something that goes on and on over a few hours. It is different, but it's also a big challenge, and it's a fun challenge, and I got out of the last match, the last Taceval match, that it was possibly one of the best airsoft matches I've ever done. Certainly the best Taceval match I've ever done. And it was an absolute joy, and even though it did rain halfway through the day, never bothered us, because we were in the zone. We were thinking as a country and doing what we was tasked to do. Like I say, if you want to do something that's a little bit different than a standard LAC skirmish match, then please feel free to get in touch with the guys at Lincolnshire Airsoft Club on the Facebook page. You have to pay a deposit. Okay, the deposit I think is £5. On the day you'll pay £10. There will be other Taceval matches happening. It's usually about one a month we have a Taceval match. The match script will go on. What the guys did yesterday has shaped or reshaped the map of the local area, and this will then carry on into the next match, which will carry on into the matches in the future. So it's not like a standard match where it just ends and that's it. This will carry on. Now if you want to be a part of the blue team, like I say, you have to wear a full set of camouflage, have the same ammo limitations that we have. If you want to be an orange team force, like my little patch says here, you can wear your mixed camouflage. Once you've paid your deposit, you will be asked which side you want to go on. So, blue team or orange team. Once you've selected that team, you will be invited or sent over to a secured Facebook page for that team. And you will not be allowed to swap back over to another team, because obviously there is secure information on these Facebook pages. Obviously, before a match, a lot of talking happens about tactics, ideas, how we're going to shape the teams, and generally speaking, that's what happened on the orange team. I'm not sure what happened on the blue team because I don't know. I honestly haven't got a clue. Another great thing about this is you don't know the numbers you're going up against. Remember, this is like real world. One army goes into one country, the other army might be bigger or it might be smaller. You just don't know. So part of the mission will be gathering information on troop strength, troop numbers, weapons, all that kind of stuff. This is all stuff that you're going to be required to do. Now, I just want to say, as 2IC of the orange team, I would put my official head on, but I just want to say this. You guys were awesome. Anyone who's watching this video from the orange team, you guys were awesome. You did everything that was expected and then some. There was a time towards the end of the match that myself and the boss were standing overwatching a firefight, radioing in specific commands for you guys to do, and you guys just did it, and we were actually jumping around this rock celebrating that our forces had gone in and kicked the ass of the enemy blue team. That, like I say, was brilliant. You guys were brilliant. If you guys are going to turn up to the next match, I can't wait to work with you guys once again. Also, big thanks goes out to the local actors. You guys were the difference, I think, because you added it wasn't just a blue team versus an orange team, there was a third team in this. You guys played your roles brilliantly. What experience I had with you guys is something that I've not had to deal with in normal airsoft matches. I don't negotiate for anyone, but it's something I have to play as a role as 2IC or orange team. Like I say, you guys, brilliant, well done, and if you are going to be the next Taceval matches, I can't wait to have to work with you guys again. As it comes to the blue forces, what can I say? You guys did put up a fight. You guys did put up a fight. I don't know much about your politics, I don't know much about your leadership, your order structures, all this kind of stuff, but what I did see as airsoft players, you guys were good as well. No issues on the usual things that we have in airsoft, usual troubles. But yeah, the whole match was brilliant. Everything from the orange team, the blue team, the neutral forces was absolutely awesome. Thanks goes out to the LAC guys who came up with this idea and have put the time into this to create the backstory that makes this match so enjoyable. I spend quite a few hours before the day of a Taceval match reading the backstory, understanding what is going to be required of an orange team force member, and like I say, the time you guys put into this, it really comes through and shows when we actually get a great Taceval match like we had at the last one. So like I say, keep this up. I really want to see Taceval work really, really well. That's from an airsoft perspective, airsoft player even perspective. I want to see these matches go on as long as we can. Obviously when the weather gets better it becomes more harder because Curtin is quite an evil place when it's quite hot. But yeah, keep these matches going, they're awesome. If you guys who haven't done a Taceval match want to do a Taceval match, drop us a line on the CraftySniper Facebook page. Likewise, you can go to the LAC or Lincolnshire Airsoft Club Facebook page and speak to the club boss. He will confirm whether there's going to, or what date is a possibility for a further Taceval match. Obviously I'm hoping it's one a month, so we're looking again early end next month. And hopefully you'll be on the orange team, working with me and the rest of the guys. If you're on the enemy team, I look forward to seeing you through the sights of my rifle. Stay safe. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of talk about Taceval and the kit that I was wearing. My next match, I do believe, is a normal standard skirmish match, so if the weather's good, it's going to be gas blowback. If it's not, it could be the M14. The M14 could be coming back, and I may be showing you off what the M14 really does look like. Like I say, stay safe, have fun in your airsoft matches, and I'll hope to speak to you and see you next time in further videos.